From 11-5 in 2017 to 5-11 in 2018, one of the biggest disappointments last year, and I think it all flows from, sorry, Blake, bad quarterback play.
Yeah.
The perception that there was a double standard, that they were protecting Blake Bortles.
Right.
They were making excuses for Blake Bortles.
Yep.
And I think that wears down a team. And I just think that they thought they were good enough to essentially fast forward to the playoffs. Once they beat the Patriots in week 2, they thought, just take us to January, we're ready to go. And they lost sight of what it takes to win week after week, and not having that quarterback play, not having that kind of leadership that you need, not having the respect for the quarterback. This year they've got it with Nick Foles. I think this year is going to be dramatically different, all because of the presence of Nick Foles.
Yeah, I agreed. I look at Jacksonville. I think the first thing I think of is watch out. I mean, again, I think this is an extremely talented football team that, yes, if I had to, mark 2 or 3 teams in football that I'd say dramatic changes, dramatic difference as far as win-loss total, and a team that I think is dangerous in the AFC, it would start with the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's not very many weaknesses on the roster. You talked about it. Yeah, last year, of course, quarterback play has kind of been a struggle there in Jacksonville. It won't be anymore. Last year, injuries did hurt them, so I'll say that much as well, and that didn't help Blake Bortles' chances as far as executing a good offense and all that too. Offensive line issues, Leonard Fournette got hurt, all of those things kind of snowballed. Their emotions, their immaturity, I think, got all the best of them. But man, Mike, I mean, I know you hear me talk about it. I got a man crush on their defense. I still look at the defensive line and go, oh my gosh, it's one of the best in football. You look at linebacker, yeah, there's no Telvin Smith, but they got a guy like Josh Allen, who a lot of people compared to Anthony Barr coming out, so he might be able to fill that role and play the stand-up linebacker position. Even if Telvin Smith doesn't play, we never see him again, they still got other players that I think are good in that position. Secondary, we know it's phenomenal. I mean, you go through it, the only position on the team, offensive line, I like Leonard Fournette. I know we both like Nick Foles. Only position on the team that's maybe a little unproven is the wide receiver position.
And I love D.D. Westbrook.
Yes, they have a lot of guys that have big-time potential. And, again, Doug Marone's an offensive line coach, so I always trust their offensive line evaluations. Tom Coughlin's an ex-wide receiver coach. He's got an eye for wide receivers. Why do you think the Giants have had wide receivers for like 15 years straight over there? Because Tom knows where to find them. Finds guys like Victor Cruz, whatever it may be. But, yeah, D.D. Westbrook, Marquise Lee still on the roster. Keelan Cole, DJ Shark, who they drafted in the second round last year. So they got some guys at that position that are talented that just need to kind of rise to the occasion. But I mean, if you had to pick right now, would you go Jacksonville playoffs if you had to put $100?
Yes, yeah. Playoffs, yes.
I would too.
Division win, I don't know. I think the Colts
tough,
win the
right.
division.
Yeah.
But I think Jaguars, yes, playoffs.
Right.
Yes.
And then, I mean, John DeFilippo as the new OC. Will he stay patient? I think this is a great spot for him because you got Doug Marrone, who's an ex-O-line coach, who I think would stay on his butt about that.
And he learned last year.
I would hope so.
He learned the hard way.
Right.
And now look, in Minnesota, everything got turned upside down when offensive line coach Tony Sparano passed a week or so before the start of training camp. They got away from the run. They threw too much. There was a sense DeFilippo was trying to audition for his head coaching job.
The O-line wasn't good.
Snowballed. And you look at the draft. Josh Allen falls to them at 7.
Right.
And they were thrilled by that development. And then
Jawan
Taylor's there round 2.
I know. It's just like the rich got richer for Jacksonville. I mean, this is again,
they were 5-11 though.
I know they were 5-11.
It's funny. I ran into Shad Khan in March. I think I mentioned this recently. I said, "Hey, congratulations." He said, "What, on 5-11?" I said, "No, I'm getting Nick Foles."
Yeah.
But obviously, they're shell shocked after the expectations being so high in 2018 to fail so badly.
Yeah, well, in 2017, hey, they're the ultimate physicality team. I mean, if you ask me about who would be the teams to win in a bar fight in the NFL, if you took the 53-man roster, I'd go Jacksonville's going to be in the final 2 or 3. They just got so many beasts across the whole roster. But this year they have an offense that can help them out. I think they went into last year thinking they were going to replicate 2017. We'll run the ball and our defense will make a few plays. Too hard to win that way. You got to have the offense to be competent and consistent at times to help that great defense.